Hey everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for another review of Stargirl. This time it's episode 2, Stripe. That was the episode name in case you didn't know.
Yeah, okay, and she made up the acronym after the word she wanted.
Yeah, she clearly pulled that out of her ass, but yeah. But yeah, this episode very much obviously continues everything from the last episode, but like I said, unlike last episode, this episode does pretty much have a conclusion. Like I said, this is going to be the proper formula.
Okay.
You were worried it was going to be all one big thing. It's, obviously there's a teaser, but
yeah, like at the end she even said, who's the next bad guy we're going after?
Yeah, that's a proper ending, but with a little teaser at the end with the villains. So this episode obviously very much continues on everything we had. We show with Pat showing up, we get his robot thing, and then there's this montage of you training them with the robot.
That was a bit of a low moment to me. Like, maybe they thought it was supposed to be funny. I didn't find it funny, so I just had to sit through it.
It was kind of just the random training montage, but this episode did another good job of really introducing a lot of other characters we're going to see. Again, this show does really good world building in a sense of...
too many characters for me to... Like, it's supposed to be more gradual, and I cannot keep track of all these faces.
That's the point, though. You don't have to keep track of all of them. Well, I'm not saying you don't have to, but in the sense of, like, it's more of just a foreshadowing, if you will. You'll see characters in this episode that they will be important later, but it's not a big deal if you didn't notice them now. It's more just it's a nice build-up, you know what I mean? It's more just saying, it's more the fact that we're building the world already, so that when these characters do become relevant, it doesn't feel like they come out of nowhere and you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that one before. It's not like you have to remember every single face, every single name. Don't stress that, there were a lot of characters who were name dropped or you saw show up in this episode. I'm like, almost every character in this episode is important at some point or another. Some of them not for a while, and that's okay. I like the fact that we've got this nice little world in this nice little town, whether it be villains or just other characters and so on. But yeah. But otherwise, you've got all the characters we've had so far. You've got, but for the most part, it still just does focus on Courtney and Pat and Brainwave. Those are the only real characters in this episode.
Yeah. So I thought Brainwave killed Starman, but I know I'm jumping to the end, but that guy who was there at the end of the episode said, I already killed Starman.
Well,
And he used ice powers, and last time we had Icicle had a file.
Well, yeah, and they mentioned Icicle, because Pat said Icicle is the leader of the Injustice Society. Because I can understand your confusion, in a sense of a lot of people, including myself, often get mixed up and think Brainwave's the leader, but apparently Icicle is the leader. So you've got Icicle, you've got Brainwave, and you've got that guy, I think he's the mayor? The guy with the southern accent?
There was a councilman.
A councilman, or whatever he was. I'm not sure if he's a mayor or a councilman, but, he was in that earlier scene with Courtney's mother at, like, a town meeting, and then later he shows up at the very end where under the town hall is their secret hideout place or whatever.
Yes, which brings me to the question of what the heck is this thing called the American Dream supposed to be? Like, I know it is an actual phrase people use, but they make a point to capitalize it in the subtitles. It is the name of, like, I don't know if company is the right word, but it is some sort of entity, because her mum works for it.
Well, we'll have to find out, I guess. I mean, I know what it's building up to. Like, I've seen the show, so I know what happens in the season and all that, but...
Yeah, I'm guessing there's some corrupt people in that or something.
Well, we've had at least introductions...
Because we had when the guy was at his house...
That's what I was going to say.
Brainwave showed up to talk to him. And, like, okay, this guy has a family. Why would you just break into your friend's house with no call? Like, what if it was the wife that bumped into him? How do you explain why you're there?
I don't know. But, yeah, so we've had introductions to 4 characters. You've got Brainwave, who was the bulk of this episode, although now he's in a coma. You've got Icicle, who we got a little sneak peek of, and that councilman, who They're just not. We don't know much about them. Their last name is Sharp. And then, did they say their first name?
But who was
and then
Zarek then?
And then was that the guy whose house we're in?
I think so.
And then you've got that guy who Brainwave's he went to their house, and he's got a family and a son, and everyone's got a son. Everyone's got a kid. Because
I think that's I don't know for sure, but maybe in an American small town, it's like this is the school in the small town. Everyone's kid goes here.
Yeah. Which would make sense as to why Brainwave decided to go to the meeting or whatever it was and kind of scope out the place.
Yeah, because he figured the person who attacked his son was obviously the same person that he fought, at the end of the first episode. And that's why he had to interrogate his son and be like, yeah, it was a girl though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he knew that anyway. He just wanted to check. So then, yeah, which meant it's definitely the same person. So that's why he scopes out that scene. And again, that scene, is littered with characters who will come up later. And I love it because there are certain characters we think, is this going to character be important? Is this character? And I like that. Again, don't stress if you didn't hang on to certain character names because they're not important now. But I just like that everyone you've seen so far in some way comes back. And I love that. Because, we're slowly building things because we're going to get... Because, I feel like the pacing is going to slow down a tiny bit. Not in a bad way, not like a slug, but you know what I mean? Everything... Yeah. We've been throwing everything at you now, but I feel like over the next couple episodes, we're going to focus in on certain new characters one at a time. I can't remember which episode's next, but I'm pretty sure I think I know what character we focus on next. Because, spoiler alert, there are other heroes in this show, just like there are other villains.
Well, he did say Hourman survived.
That's true. They talked about Hourman and they said he survived, but didn't they say him and his wife got in a car accident?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but he did. Yeah, but he wasn't killed by the Injustice Society. So, but he did say pretty much everyone else was supposedly killed by the Injustice Society, or at least a handful of people were. But yeah, obviously, that's the theme of this show. You've got the Justice Society members, and then you've got the Injustice Society, and there's a lot of characters. And for me, the biggest highlight of this episode is how well it builds up everything, and how delightful Courtney is as a character at the end. I love that ending scene with her and Pat. Again, that first episode really makes her come across not as a super bratty teenager, but you can see what she's going. But in this episode, she's just a delightful character. She can be a little stubborn at times, but she's a teenager,
Well, it's a crazy way to show a story of someone getting closer with a step-parent, basically.
Yeah, but I do like the way this show handles things, and it's not like, say, Flash or Arrow, which is a very totally different way of doing things. It's the only show I could compare it to is maybe Superman and Lois, but it's still very different to that. This show it gets to be its own thing. It focuses on there's not really any superhero shows that focus on young characters, whereas all of this show does focus.
That's true. She's only 15, so when they were fighting Brainwave again, I was thinking, if she were to actually kill him, probably by accident, that would be messed up for her, and I don't know.
Well, you can see that even at the end, when they were sitting with Pat after that big fight scene, she's like, "I hope he's not dead" or something like that. But
and they
presumably found him and took him to the hospital, and then they presumed he had a seizure or a coma or something.
Yeah, the other doctor said it appeared like a seizure.
And everyone's connected to everyone, because that other doctor is the
girl's mom.
Is Beth's mother, and Beth's a girl we've seen sitting at that table twice now, so yeah. On a completely unrelated side note, do you recognize Beth?
She looks familiar.
Do you remember that Young Sheldon episode?
That's what I thought,
yes. Yeah. Funny enough, for me, it was the other way around. I got to that Young Sheldon episode and I'm like, oh, cool, it's this girl.
Oh, I didn't realize that was already that order.
I think so. It could be the other way around. I don't know. But yeah, that's that girl. But yeah. But like I said, but I love that. I love how every character connects. It's like, Brainwave works at the hospital with this girl who's the mother of Beth, who goes to school, and you got, everyone's connected, and I love it. But I guess that's that whole stereotype of small towns where everyone knows each other.
Yeah,
but
my only nitpick about, so her mom, the other doctor, said to the son, oh, the ironic thing is he, the one who could save him is him.
Yeah.
That's not my nitpick, although I do think it's a little funny that, I don't know if it would, probably not intentional, but it feels like they ripped off Grays when Derek dies because he didn't get a head CT and everyone was saying Derek was the one who could have saved him because everyone knows Derek is the neuro guy. So comparing that...
our channel's back because we're referencing Grays, apparently.
Yes, but the problem is that the way they did the line in this, it didn't land as well because they did not... It would have worked better if they had pre-established him and had at least one line where people said, he is, say, the head of neuro. He is the guy that can handle any neurological case.
And I feel like, you know what? Putting in
All we saw is that he is a doctor. I don't think they mentioned his specialty.
I don't think so, unless
neuro.
there was like a sign on the door when in that scene where they were having lunch. But you know what? That would have worked out well because even though it's foreshadowing, it wouldn't have felt like forced foreshadowing because it's obviously double layered, Gee, who's the neuro specialist? Brainwave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I like that, and you're right. A nice little line would have actually made that slightly more foreshadowing, but I don't feel it's not completely out of nowhere. So like, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I get like if you could have found a way to put that line in, it would have been nice. Yeah. But otherwise, again, this episode and last episode, obviously, they're one big story, and it really rounds out the show. They've set up everything now. And now we've got everything we need to start the ball rolling for the rest of the show.
It's like how, last episode, I complimented them on the fact that they established her as being good at gymnastics before she did all those tricks with the staff. Now I'm going to complain about the lack of a similar thing. What they didn't do is pre-establish her as having any history of being good at sewing.
I guess so. You know what? Yeah, even if the
unless she is already a girl who is obsessed with sewing and really good at it, she could not have made those alterations like before school in whatever small.
I feel like it would have been pretty easy to set that up. Is even if like the opening scene where she first goes to the school, she's talking to like some person at the school. If, that person who was showing around or whatever and taking her photo, they could have at least set up that she is also taking, like, sewing classes or whatever. Because that would also explain why she's able to just wander into the sewing room. Where she, why she...
Yes, she wanders into the sewing room and the machines are already on the tables. Now, I took textiles class in high school. The machines do not start on the tables. Number 2... They were all already threaded with the thread and bobbin. No, the students do that when they set up at the start. You do not leave sewing machines already threaded. Unless maybe it's your sewing machine at home that you use for personal use, and sure, maybe you'll leave it threaded. But in a school, no.
Okay, wonderful. But yeah, like I said, if they could have just maybe weaved that line into like the scene where she's being introduced to the school and saying, oh, I'm taking gymnastics and I'll take sewing class and I'll take this, and maybe throw in a class that isn't mentioned just to make them not sound like forced foreshadowing, it would have been pretty easy to set that up.
Or even a line where when one of those random girls talked to her could have been like, hey, cool jacket, thanks, I made it.
I guess
that would have worked too.
I guess that would have been, but that was the only one. Because, like, you're right, last episode did so well in setting up that her ability to use the staff isn't completely out of nowhere, but then her ability to make an impressive costume is completely out of nowhere.
Yes, so quickly, and I guess she was just hoping that Pat didn't have any sentimental value holding on to Starman.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't come up at the ending scene where they're talking.
Yeah, he could have at least had a line once they were sitting down, like, So I see you took the costume.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that line didn't come up. But yeah, but otherwise, again, for the most part, really enjoyed this episode, really enjoy how they set things up. Like, obviously there's little things you can nitpick, like sewing and all that stuff, but like, most of that's little nitpicks.
It's great that she added a mask to the costume, so we don't have another, like, Supergirl where it's, like, so obvious. Brainwave, on the other hand, literally pulls a Clark Kent. He was wearing glasses, like, when he was around.
I'd like to remind you that Starman doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly. I think she commented on that.
Starman doesn't wear a mask. Half the characters don't wear masks. So at least this new generation is learning. But you're right, Brainwave didn't. And you could argue that, well, her cover's blown because Brainwave knows. Okay.
But now he's in a coma.
But what I was also going to say, even if somehow Brainwave had never seen her without her mask, I feel like of all the people, Brainwave could figure it out because he can read minds. So, it's not the biggest loss in the world. But you're right, he's in a coma, and...
So he won't be telling anyone.
So I guess, his friends won't be able to figure out who she is, at least right now.
Yeah, his friends at the end were like, see this girl, but that would have been a picture from the second fight where she had the costume.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't have been the world's best quality picture anyway. But yeah, so we've got our villains, we need to find some heroes, we've got a lot of stuff to worry about, but overall, I really enjoyed this.
I noticed, thinking back to the JSA that I already know of, most of them don't wear masks either. The other Stargirl doesn't, Amaya doesn't, and probably some of the others, I don't remember.
Obsidian and Dr. Midnight did.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot to enjoy about this episode, and like I said, between this and last, it really sets up the board well, and now we can get rolling.
Another name drop. Someone named Ted Knight built the staff.
I legitimately don't know if that's a name I've heard before outside the show. I'm sure it's a reference, I'm sure fans might know it, but like, I can't remember if I've seen that, like, in any of the other shows I've watched.
Obviously that name would exist in a comic.
Yeah. But I can't remember if that name is relevant or not. Maybe it is, or maybe it's just, hey, this is a reference to the lore. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And again, I've only seen, while I know the most of the show, I don't remember every goddamn thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it had its low moments, but it was still overall fine.
I feel like, there might be a few slow moments, but overall I feel like the pacing is super well. I feel like the pacing is really well. Every scene sets up characters or just has character moments work really well. Like, you could argue it's slow, but compared to, say, Smallville, where everything is just drama, there's no drama, and any drama you do get feels much more natural. Like, any slight drama between, like, Courtney and Pat feels way more organic. There, at the moment...
that is more so family drama, interactions, and... Is it really drama when it's like...
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Showing the progression.
That's normal.
Yeah, of a relationship.
That's what I'm saying. Any quote-unquote... It's not much drama, and any quote-unquote drama feels more organic and feels like it makes sense.
Yeah, it's not like crappy romance
Exactly.
drama.
There is not much in terms of that. I'm not saying there won't be any, like, coupled stuff throughout the show, but there isn't much throughout the show. It's very much a side thing at best.
I am very glad that this show that has a strongish female lead does not have her going after a boy, in comparison to something like Ladybug, where their goal was to create a strong female lead where, yes, she's smart, resourceful, and gets the job done while she's in costume, but out of costume, she's simping over a boy.
That's it. Like I said, any romance subplots that do exist in the show are very small at best. They won't be zero, but again, they're very much a side thing that doesn't take up too much time.
From what I've seen so far, it feels like they could do this show without romance.
They could, and that's a lesson I wish more shows would learn.
Similarly, Supergirl doesn't get that much romance.
No, I was going to say, I was about to bring up Supergirl
or at least Supergirl herself, yes. There is, like, Alex and Maggie and whatever
and,
else.
like, you might say Supergirl's got some stuff, but that's only, like, in Season 2 with Mon-El.
Or, like, I didn't mind at first where, like, she liked James and James was with...
But I didn't mind it in Supergirl because,
Lucy.
I didn't mind it in Supergirl because unlike some shows, mainly Flash, they don't hammer you over the head with who is supposed to be the end goal.
Yeah,
and
it's like...
spoiler alert for the end of Supergirl, she never gets somebody. And I like that. It's just, okay, they don't make a big... she's just happy. And I like that.
I didn't mind, she liked James, he was taken.
Yeah.
Or like when Wynn fell in love with her. Or there was Monel for a while, and I wasn't that into that.
But again, that didn't last, and I'm okay with that. And this show doesn't do that too much either. And so far, it hasn't had any. But this episode just, again, we've rambled. It set up everything really well, and I'd say we're both enjoying this show pretty well. I definitely am, but I've seen it before, so it's hard for me to say I'm enjoying the show when, don't get me wrong, I really love these episodes, but part of it is also the excitement of I know what's coming. Whereas for you, it's like fresh take. I'm like, I hope you're enjoying it because I'm like, well, let's see. Yeah.
Well, I'd definitely rather continue this than Smallville, so that shows something.
I would certainly hope so. Don't get me wrong, Smallville's got some cool moments, but it's a slog to get through. Whereas this, again, smaller seasons really work well. I get wanting to have a 20-episode season, but you have to know how to make it work. And this show works well with the 13-episode season. It works well with, having...
You want a small season? Watch Class.
It works well with a more focused-in plot. Again, it's not to say it's one giant long story, but you don't get quote-unquote filler. Everything matters, even if each episode is focusing in on one particular thing. Like, I promise you, that's what the next few episodes are going to be, from what I remember. Good. It's mostly focusing in on one little person or event or thing, but there'll always be stuff in the background chugging along.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this show. And in the end, everything is still kind of connected. We're building, especially in the season 1, where season 1's all about, building up the characters. Yeah.
I love that. At the start, there were just a few more moments where he tried to correct her about Starman being her dad. But then in the end scene, that he stopped correcting her, and he did have a line where he was like, maybe the guy I know did have a daughter, I don't know. They're
really toying with that idea, though. I get, it is a little funny how annoying it is where she's really, really insistent to everyone.
What if she's wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But
and even Brainwave,
when he read her mind,
that's true. He thinks it's true because he read her mind, and she seems so sure of it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I said, we thoroughly enjoyed this episode, so obviously we'll see the next one. We haven't been paying attention to episode names, so I don't remember what happens next. I think I remember what happens next, and I don't have the episode name list in front of me, so sorry.
Remember in Winx, I'd give 3 different names.
Yeah, but I suppose we've covered everything.
I suppose so.
We both thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely a better than average experience, at least.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that's important. We don't do numbers, but it's more just a general vibe of, is this better than average, is it not, and so on.
Certainly better than Smallville, which I guess it helps that we watched that right before this, which it lowered my expectations, and then this was better. But comparing episodes, I don't know why, there were moments where I was thinking, last episode was probably better. Not that this one is bad.
I feel like it goes both. I feel like there are pros and cons to both episodes in my view.
Yeah, this one did have its good moments. Like most superheroes, we did get the reveal of the costume and all that.
Yeah. But they did that in such a
way she made that.
Yeah, I know. She made it because she also she took the shirt. I didn't see any pants, but then she's wearing shorts. Did she make the shorts out of the pants, out of the shirt? Which would actually make sense because the shirt would have been much bigger because it's built for a guy.
Also, we saw her trying to cut off the long sleeves. I don't remember, were the sleeves white or blue?
I can't remember, you'll have to check.
I think the sleeves were white, and she could have used that material for the shorts.
Well, the shorts are blue, though. But it would also make sense, because you've got to remember, even if she only took the shirt, she's got more material. The shirt's built for a guy who's probably taller, and also...
Yeah, she would have had to take it in.
Not only that, but if you notice, her outfit still exposes her midriff, so I guess she could have used some of that material for the shorts.
Yeah.
Which I guess that actually kind of makes sense.
They did a little gag where she couldn't cut through it or something, Which I guess shows that, like most superheroes, his costume was made
I feel like,
of strong material.
to be fair, even if it wasn't some magic costume or whatever it is, it's not magic, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't feel like, I'm no expert, scissors shouldn't be able to cut through that material. I did like, but it was still funny the way she just takes out like that paper cutter and slices the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we've rambled on enough. We both enjoyed this episode, so is that it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, with that being said, we will see you next time for more Stargirl and other things as well. See you next time, guys.